Hi, hola, my friends. Sorry for the wait. I just had to take a shower and, just like make myself look a little bit presentable. So this live stream has been requested by my dear friends on Instagram. So for those who don't know what my Instagram is, it's universal.hobo. So please follow me and send me a DM telling me that you came here from this video, and I will give you a like and stalk your photos because I love stalking all you guys.
It's 1 o'clock.
It's 1 o'clock, so I was like fucking a minute early. Look at me being a minute early to my stream for once. Okay, so I posted a photo, and you know what? Let me bring it up because I was thinking of all the fucking like wacky things I've done in relationships or out of relationships. So I said in a quote that I saw online, if you carry bricks from your past relationship, you will end up building the same house. And then I said, to be honest, I'm sorry to all my exes who had to deal with me. I should make a video about psycho things I've done in relationships. Like this post if you want to see that video because tea will be spilled. And I got like dozens and dozens and dozens of comments from you guys saying that you wanted me to make this video. And I thought I would just do a live stream because honestly, this stuff isn't something I want to edit through. Like, I don't want to edit through myself, like, exposing all the fucking shitty things I've done. And disclaimer, not all this stuff is bad. I didn't burn anyone's house down. Like, I didn't fucking, like, murder anybody. I didn't fucking, like, hack into someone's account, etc., etc. Hi, everyone in the comments. I can see you all. But let me just get straight into this. So, first of all, when I refer to like a relationship, I refer it as like someone I've been with for like 3 to 4 months. I being like 21, when I was around, 17, 18, 19, that time it was that time where it was like, I'm with you, but I don't want to put a label on the relationship because if I like you, I'm gonna be with you. And if I want to like be devoted to you, I'm not gonna like be with somebody else. So why do we need to put a relationship label on it when we can just do what we do? Imagine how complicated that is to like explain to people, but that was me. That was me, and that was a lot of people around that time. And you know what? A lot of you guys, when you turn 17, 18, 19, that will be you because you're trying to figure out who the fuck you like, etc., etc., etc. So, anyways, we're gonna start off with my first boyfriend. We're doing this in order because then you can see how I've progressively changed into a slightly better human being. So the first boyfriend I had, I was 15. I'm gonna call him Alex for this video, and I was with him for 10 months. It was an official relationship, and first of all, when I was 15, I was a very broken human being. I was, self-harming, dealing with a lot of fucking shit, mental health-wise, life shit, all that stuff. And so I already carried a lot of, like, emotional baggage. And there was this website called Ask FM. And Ask FM is just this like website where you can ask people questions anonymously, and they can't find out who like sent that question because it's sent anonymously. First of all, that website ruined my life. It ruined all my friendships. Like, I found out who was sending me hate, which were like my friends, well, a friend of mine, etc., etc. She was sending hate to my other friends, etc. And we all found out about it, and we didn't tell her, or maybe someone did. I think one girl did. Anyways, so I went on Ask FM, and I went on my boyfriend Alex's Ask FM, and I started like hating on myself. I started being like, your girlfriend is so annoying, or I was like, she's such a slut, or whatever I could to just shit on myself because I wanted to see him be like, fuck you, I'm gonna fuck you up. Johanna is amazing. I love her. She's beautiful, etc., etc. And I got exactly what I wanted, which sucks because I don't know, like, what was I gonna expect? Like, what would I have done if he didn't reply? He was like, don't ever fucking talk about my girlfriend or whatever. He was being super protective, which is what I wanted him to do. Like, that's what I wanted him to be like. I wanted him to be protective. Like, and he did that. And then I was like, what? Like, why did I need to, like, put myself down just to feel, like, validated in this relationship? I was 15, okay? There's a lot of Ask FM stuff and like all that shit. You know, that guy never looked through his Facebook, never looked through any of his accounts. So I'm not that psycho, okay? But I did, you know, send myself a bit of hate on Ask FM. And the nicest thing about it is that he deleted the response quickly because he didn't want other people to see it. He messaged me and he was like, by the way, this person said this about you. Like, I replied very angrily, but I deleted it straight away because I don't want other people to think that way about you. So he handled it perfectly. And I felt bad instantly. And I'm sure there's like a ton of other psycho things I did to this kid because I was 15 and I was like self-harming. And when we broke up, like I'm sure there's so many things, but this is like years and years ago. This is like 6 years ago. But yeah, when we broke up, he would like tell people that I was like threatening self-harm on him, and maybe he saw it that way. And I've always been against like trying to stay in a relationship by being like, you can't leave me because I'm going to kill myself, or you can't leave me because I'm going to cut myself, or because you know, said that to me, like you did this, or you made me cut myself. I'm so against that. I don't think it's right. I think it's abusive. I think that's fucked up. I think if any of your partners are using their self-harm or, you know, suicidal tendencies to make you stay with them, I think that's so fucking wrong. But he said that about me like afterwards, and I felt like I didn't, you know, was like, oh, you did this, but I was self-harming for like personal reasons. And I think he just put it together and was like, oh, you know, when I make her upset, then she like self-harms. But it wasn't like directly him. I'd never be like, oh, I'm gonna fucking hurt myself because of you. Number 2, I'm gonna call this guy Grayland. I don't know why. I have like spare names, like just random names written on here because I want to make sure that I don't accidentally slip up and say their real name, because this is a live stream and I don't want to fucking expose them or myself. So this guy, Grayland, this is when I was 16, I think. I showed up to his house when he canceled on me. So this guy, Grayland, he people are asking me like, Grayland? But we were seeing each other for maybe a few months, and it wasn't official. We were just like, you know, sleeping together, hanging out, taking photos together, like doing fun things together. But I knew he was leaving, so we weren't gonna make it official or anything. And I remember this one time he canceled on me, canceled hanging out on me, didn't give me an excuse, didn't give me like a sorry, just like canceled and ghosted me. And I was like, I put my full fucking glam makeup on. I put a fucking nice outfit on. I put fucking hoop earrings on, and you're gonna cancel on me? Like, bitch, I look fucking hot. Anyone would be lucky to have me. Anyways, so I go to his house and I like knock on the door, and his brother answers the door, and I'm like, where's Grayland? And his brother's like, oh, he's not here, he's out. And I'm like, out, huh? Wonder where the fuck he is. And so I just made it up excuse, and I was just like, oh, I left something at the house, so I just came here to pick it up. So I picked it up. I went back to the train station because I was heading home because I realized that, you know, he wasn't home. And I see him like walking with his friend. Thank God his friend was a male, because I would have flipped if she was female. And I was like walking, and I was like going to the station. I bump into him, and he like looks at me, and he can't even like he knew, I could tell by his fucking eyes that he knew that he fucked me over, that he purposely like ghosted me, and that he purposely like just canceled on me and gave me like no explanation and didn't even want to like compromise or anything. He promised me he would buy me some fucking chips. Never happened. Anyways, yeah, so I'm like looking at him, I'm like, oh, like doing this thing. I don't even know what I said. It was just like, oh, so you're out free? You know, when we were supposed to fucking hang out? And he's like, he's like smiling at me, being like, oh yeah, sorry, like, and his friend is there. And he's like trying to like explain to me why he's a dickhead. And so I'm like, okay, you know what, whatever. I went home. Let's see if there's so much. That guy, I wasn't too psycho with him, but I was 16 at the time. I was 16. Thank you guys for like asking and all that stuff. No chips, not worth it. Bruh, I left that relo real quick because the chips weren't provided. I'm kidding. But yeah, no, him, I was like super unstable, so but I didn't take out a lot of my problems on him because I didn't like trust him enough. So next person, I'm gonna call this guy Eugene. And this guy, first of all, I want to make a disclaimer that the relationship I was in was very extremely toxic. I've never been in a more toxic relationship than I have been with this guy I call Eugene. And he was the psycho one. He was so fucking manipulative. He was psycho. He'd sleep with my friends. Like, he would steal from me. He would literally steal from me. He stole my wallet like almost 3 times. What the fuck? How can I was so, that was the time I was really suicidal and I didn't believe that I was like worth more than what I was worth. And so I just settled for this guy who was like so shitty and horrible and disgusting. And when I look back, I literally cringe thinking like he was the most ugliest guy I've ever dated. And I don't mean that as I mean, he's physically the ugliest guy I've ever dated, but he's also like personality the most ugliest guy I've ever dated. I wouldn't even be friends with this guy I wouldn't even be friends with this guy if I met him out. Like, that's how confused I am with this guy. This guy was more psycho to me than I was to him, but because he was so like emotionally manipulative, like I would like it would take me an hour and a half to get to his house, and many times I'd get to his house and he just would ghost me. And it would take me an hour and a half to get to his house, an hour and a half back. I don't have 3 hours to kill on the train just for someone to slam the door in my face. And so this one time, this was like, I've had enough. I was literally so sick of this. So instead of just like, usually I'd like knock and like whatever, I'd leave after like 20 minutes. But this time I went to his house and for 45 minutes straight, I was like banging on his door. And I recorded the entire thing and I sent it to him. The 45 minutes of me just fucking knocking on his door. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, this happens to me all the fucking time. You always fucking do this to me. You tell me that we're gonna hang out at this time. And then you just fucking like sleep. Like, all he does is fucking sleep with his life. Like, it's literally all he did. Sleep and steal and etc. And honestly, there's so many like other psycho things that him and I like did to each other, but I don't think there's any point in mentioning this in this video because I'm going to make a video about my most toxic relationship, which will be about this guy Eugene. And I don't believe that the things I did were psycho because it was how he treated me in a relationship. I will treat my partner however they treat me, and he obviously treated me so fucking horribly. It almost I almost feel like the things that I did were an excuse or is excused because of his fucking fucked up behavior. Moving on because this guy's fucked up. Another guy, Bruce. So this was when I was 18, and this guy I felt most bad for because I put a lot of my emotional damage and baggage on him, and you know. Okay, so one thing that I wrote down here is that I needed to see him cry to trust him. So I was with him for like fucking like maybe 2 months, maybe. We were friends before that, and we were like casual, but like yeah, for this guy, I remember like trying to make him cry. Like, I literally tried to bring up all of his problems and like almost made like I wanted to see him cry, which is weird. How do I explain this? So I'm a very like sensitive person, and if I cry in front of you, that instantly means like I feel like I can trust you and I feel safe around you. And I thought that is how everyone else works. And Eugene, my ex, who was very toxic, it was that type of thing that he'd do to me. He would want to see me cry, like he'd like almost seeing me cry, and he'd be like, oh, it's fine, it just means that I can trust you and you can trust me. And he had a best friend, and that person also wanted to see me cry. She would like keep asking me about my self-harm, about my mental health, to the point where like she was forcing me to open up. And it was a good thing. Like, I appreciate like being able to open up and like someone being interested in trying to open me up. But like, it felt if I don't want to go on to it, but I was putting what I experienced with those people and his group and how they treated me, I passed on when I moved with Bruce. And so I remember sitting in like the middle of the field and being like, why don't you cry? Like, why aren't you passionate, or why aren't you upset about anything? And I pretty much just like gave him a bunch of reasons of why he should cry. And then he started to cry, and I was like relieved after he cried. And I was like, cool, now we can trust each other. And then I realized that like we had like an argument like a few weeks later, and he's like, my problems aren't your, like, the problems that you have aren't always the problems I have. And he's like, you can't like push your problems onto me, or you can't make me have problems that I never thought were problems. Like, even though things in his life had, you know, were shit, I made them a problem. He never made them a problem. I did. So I think that's super, super psycho of me. And I played him like, and I literally played him like the guitar. He was also one of those victims that were you want to be my boyfriend, but like I don't want to because I want to be free, but I also don't want to put a label on things because like that was the time. And I'd be like, we're together, but like we're not. And man, like that was so complicated because he wanted things to be more secretly. I did, but I wanted to take things slow, and it was bad that I was saying like, oh no, I just want to be like free. I just want to be able to do what I want, because if you say I want to be able to do what I want, then surely they should be able to do what they want as well too. But it didn't work that way with me. He wasn't allowed to fucking hang out with girls by himself. Actually, he did, but like obviously I wouldn't be able to say anything about it. But because of that, I got so jealous one. I fucking called his friend and asked her to investigate him when I'm not around. And obviously she didn't, because she's Bruce's friend. I mean, she played onto it a little bit. But anyways, let's go to, I had another guy named Corey, and this is where I learned my lesson. And I had a few people in between. There's so many other people, but those things were like fine and easy. But this guy, Corey, I really fucking learned my lesson. And it was that pretty much every past relationship that ended, I would always like go home, I'd cry, I'd pray to the universe that their house like fucking falls apart and that they get electric shocked or that they get fucking hit by lightning. I'd be very, very, you know, aggressive thinking about them. I'd be like, fuck them, like they fucking die in a hole or whatever. But this guy Corey is how I learned my lesson, because I just remember like I was with this guy and I knew that it wasn't gonna last. We weren't compatible, but we were like friends that like could tolerate each other. I don't know. It was like one of those weird things where like if we were the only people on an island, like we'd get along. But if I had a choice, which I felt like I didn't have at the time, I would never have picked him, just because our personalities clash so much. But one time I went over to his house and he said that he, you know, we were seeing each other for a few months. I think it was like 4 months at this point, but it was not love. It was obviously just like boredom. And so basically, Corey like comes home, or I go to his house and he's there, and he's like, oh, yeah, so last weekend, like I slept with my ex. And I was like, what the fuck? Like we've been like hanging out for 4 months. And to me, this was easy because it's like, finally now I can get rid of this guy, because like I don't like double dipping. That's fucking nasty. So I literally looked at him like this, and I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, I'm sorry. And I was like, okay. And then the same, like literally 20 minutes later, he got scammed $20. And I went home and I didn't want to cry. I didn't want to be angry. I just wanted to relax. And I said to myself in my head on the way home, I was like, Anna, you can burn this guy's house down. You can fucking put cyanide in his drinks. You can fucking ruin this guy's life if you wanted to, because I'm psycho too, you know. But instead, I decided to smile about it. And I just like looked out the window and I just smiled about it and I said, there is no fucking reason to be upset about this breakup because 1, I did nothing wrong. 2, his loss, not mine. 3, it was so funny in the next couple weeks. He like fucking lost his job and he was like 2 weeks away from his like apprenticeship, etc. I have nothing against this guy right now. Like I'm on good terms with most of these people apart from like Eugene. But yeah, now we're coming to the 21-minute point, so I should probably end this very, very soon. And those are only a few of the psycho things I've done, and I know it wasn't too crazy. I'm not that fucking like psycho or anything. But I also wanted to let you guys know that I'm human. I make mistakes. I make mistakes in relationships. I make mistakes in friendships, and it's okay to make those mistakes. And I'm happy that all of those relationships that I briefly talked about have helped me find my boyfriend Darren, have helped me find a guy like him and helped me learn how to, deal with things as little as like jealousy or feeling like someone's not spending enough time with you or whatever. But anyways, before I go, I'm just going to give a quick shout out to all you guys. So if you want to say hi now, I'm scrolling through the comments. Hello, Ruby. Hello, Thomas H. It's awesome to see you here. You're my favorite person ever. Hello, Stella. Hello, Camillo. Hello, Jessica. Hello, Maximalus. Hello, Fuzuku. Hello, Inhale. Hello, Jessica. I think maybe another Jessica. Hello, Hannah Brooke. Hello, Zoinks. Hello, Abby. Hello, Philip. Hello, Emily. Hello, Kimberly, etc., etc. Now you guys are like fucking spamming me with all these like comments. But I love you all so much. Please take this video lightheartedly. Honestly, I know these aren't like that bad, but for everyone who watches my videos and they always comment like, oh, you're so perfect and you're so sweet and you're so nice. No, I'm not a perfect person. There's many things that I could expose about myself or other people can expose about myself. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with opening up and being like, look, I was a shitty person in the past or I've done some shitty things in the past, but I'm a big enough person, I'm a strong enough person to know that I'm not that person anymore. So I don't feel ashamed to share these stories. If there's any stories you want me to talk about more, you can always leave me a comment and I'll definitely screenshot it and keep it in my folder where I have all my video ideas. But other than that, I love you guys all so much. Please have an amazing fucking week. Namaste, Lucid. Namaste, alive. Please subscribe. Bye.